within 5 minutes, she summed me up completely. I didn't think there was this kind of peace that existed.
So hi Tia, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you giving me your time to give a testimonial for Manna and give a little bit of an insight into what's been going on.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for this opportunity to give back to Manna. So I'm Tia Stegeman, and I live in the UK. I've been in the UK. I'm originally South African and then lived in the UK for the last, almost 30 years now. And I've been a coach and a speaker and a mentor for the last kind of 10 years, but for the moment I'm predominantly focusing on my speaking, especially since I've worked with Manna. I have changed direction and realized what my gifts and my strengths really are, and shifted my focus into those, being very strategic. And now I will be speaking and talking about topics that have been really passionate, that I'm passionate about and very close to my heart. So I'm hoping to tell my story more and just raise awareness about what happened in my life and the things that have happened and how I overcame that. So really just creating more of a speaking career and stuff like that. So which I've always wanted to do, but I had all this baggage, right, and was dragging me down all the time. So working with Manna helped me to really shift all of that. So
awesome. Well, that's really good. So I'm excited to get into this. So can I ask, so what was sort of going on for you at the time, to make you reach out to Manna, and how was it affecting you, like, on a daily basis?
Well, so I have basically tried so many different things. I had years and years and years of therapy, and while a lot of things were healing and I had a lot of healing happen to me, I had perpetuating patterns that were dragging me down. And the more conscious I became, and the more I was learning and soaking up, learning from people like Dr. Joe Dispenza and all these kind of things. And I was working with other mentors in another program, which I became certified in. I realized that I had patterns that were repeating in my life, and the patterns were running me. And I was self-sabotaging massively, and no matter what was happening, nobody could help me. It was causing me illness, so I was suffering terribly with anxiety. I was getting sick all the time. So my unconscious mind was actually, every time I tried to take a big step forward, my unconscious would knock me back. And the last time it got me so sick that I developed tinnitus and vertigo, and I was in bed for a week. And I was like, I need to get help from somebody who can actually help me, because I know that this is a trauma response. And I started, I found her somewhere, came up on, I think, a Facebook ad. And I started to listen to things, and I started to, just following and listening to other people's testimonials, same as mine. And I was struggling with PTSD, and my PTSD was actually getting worse. And so it was wrecking my life. I wasn't able to do normal things. And actually, I felt that it was getting worse and worse because I was trying to fix it. I was very much in a fixing state, because I was like, this is dominating my world. I need to fix this. And so the more you fix, the more you try and fix, the more there is to fix. But I was literally just at desperation station, because I tried everything else. I knew that talk therapy hadn't worked for the longest time. And I just needed pattern shifted in my life. So so I found Manna, and of course I did my homework, and I was watching and reading and listening to testimonials and everything else. And it wasn't until I made that call, I literally reached out to her, and she said, okay, let's jump on a really quick call. And no word of a lie, within 5 minutes, she summed me up completely. I was literally gobsmacked. Like I'm not one that's got few words, I'm never like lost for words, but I was literally like she just nailed it. She summed me up in a couple of minutes. She told me exactly what was going on. She read my pattern. She saw She looked at my skin tone. She immediately could see the kind of person that I was and what was in the way. And I was like, okay, I've got to make a way to work with this woman, because she called me out. She immediately called me out. And imagine you'd been working and you'd been trying for years and years and years to work with so many people, and you know your problem, but you can't explain it to everyone else. And I knew I just needed a no BS person like Manna, who could see through and cut through all the crap. I call it, she just cut through all the crap. And I say that to all my friends. I've recommended her far and wide. And I say, she's going to cut through the crap. She's going to see you. She's going to call you out. And she is just going to get you on the right path. And that's what happened to me.
Wow, that's awesome. And she does have that gift, doesn't she, to be able to just
beautiful
see
and
somebody.
gentle, but just truthful and honest. And she just reads you. She reads you. She's such a master of pattern deciphering, isn't she?
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about when you started to work with her then. The one thing that Manna's extremely good at, as you say, she only needs 5 minutes to understand you, is, tell me a little bit about your journey with her and how impactful it was, and when you started to feel things change for you, and how long did that take for you?
Yeah. So originally, one of the first things she saw was that I was stuck in a very bad pattern. And actually, it was an addiction. And my addiction was the addiction of doing. I am highly creative, very logical, very strategic. And it's like, do. I've got to do things and fix this. And she was like, stop. And your task is, you're not allowed to do anything for you. Obviously you can go on it, but no business, no strategy, no nothing for 30 days. And I was like, no way. And she was like, that's it, stop. You want to break this? Do you want your life to change? And I said, of course I do. And she said, then do the work. And I'm telling you, you have to stop everything. And I literally felt like I was going to die. I felt parts of me die away. But I was so desperate to do the work and to change. And then I recognized that this had been my pattern. And actually in the past, other people had told me that I needed to stop doing, because doing was my addiction. Do. I just need to do, like, like under, that duck that you see under the water, the legs going, that was me always. And because I'm in my head, I'm a head thinker. My mind was racing always. And it was really hard. The first month was really hard, but she was there. She supported me. She checked in constantly. She supported me on Messenger. I was sending her these messages going, Manna, I'm going to die. I can't do this. Like, this is hard. And she was like, remember, and this is, you got to break this. You've done this a lifetime. It's a big pattern that you've got to, you're breaking the thing that's got the biggest hold on you in your life right now. And I did. And, the inner peace after that, like breaking that addiction to doing, just stopping and just deciding no more, was the most freeing thing I've ever done. And I just found inner peace. After 2-3 weeks, my head stopped. Because I would wake up in the middle of the night and just thoughts and, come on, you've got to do, and it just stopped. At one point, it stopped. And it felt really weird. But the great thing is then, she follows a direction with you. So at first it was like, stop, do nothing, not allowed to do anything. And then she said, one of the key things I will never forget, she said, I just want you to be okay with watching it all fall apart. Because that's where the power lies, is knowing that you're above it all, that you can watch it fall apart because you're actually the one who can build it up. So what if you go bankrupt in that month that you're not doing anything? So what? You can do it all again. You can start again. And it was the most freeing thing. It was so empowering to do that. But she's there. She supported me. She guided me through it. We watched lots of things fall apart. And then we knew that we could. Then she was like, because next step is we're going to be very strategic. We're going to be very intentional. And we're going to come from a place of healed and whole And of course, that was the beginning. That was the beginning bit. And then she started to work with me on whatever the emotions were coming up. So the next steps were then healing the anxiety. I love the way she works with metaphors, in terms of just healing all the emotions. And then the next step was then healing the mind, showing me how my mind had all these patterns so that I can now be the observer, and I can actually go, the moment my mind wants to suck me back into an old pattern, I can just go, stop it. I see you. And my mind will stop, right? So powerful. And I'll be forever grateful, right? But it's a process she takes you through. And I think it's very intuitive, and it's not going to be the same for everybody. But that was the thing that was running my life. It was literally causing me to, I always say, throw S at the wall. That's what I was doing. I was always just in my desperation station. And she immediately saw it. She got me to stop doing it. We broke it. And then it's now coming from a place of peace and from a place of, wow, control, peace, power. Okay, now whatever I'm doing is not because I'm panicking. I'm actually doing it because it's well thought through. It's the right action step. And I'm doing it from clarity and confidence, not from, because that was the story of my life for years. So, and I couldn't get anybody to help me break that. No coach could, nobody else. I had people do, all kinds of procedures on me. Nobody could change that, but she got it like this, which was amazing. It was amazing.
Wow, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I think what's really interesting there is, by getting you to do something to break that, addiction, that uncovered deeper patterns that then she works on healing. Was that right?
100%, 100%.
That's awesome.
That was the thing but that was the core thing. So my core trauma was actually, I have, one of my core traumas, a very traumatized childhood and abuse and all this kind of stuff. But one of my core traumas was actually financial PTSD, because I grew up seeing a lot of it, experiencing a lot of it with my parents, but there was also physical abuse and domestic abuse around money in my home. And so as we were working through all of these things, and my continuous panic around doing was actually tied to this. And we never actually spoke about the core trauma. We never actually addressed it, but the core trauma dissolved itself and became healed in the process. And there's no going back and telling stories. There's none of the stuff. There's no recounting the past. But it goes so deep, and then it brings up all the layers and it heals it. And, she does the somatic, she does the body, the energy, she shifts the mind, the body, the emotions. And, I had an emotion stuck in my heart for the longest time, and I have done energy healers, everybody tried to get the pain in my heart to go away. And I don't even remember when we did it with her, but it was just gone. Because of the procedures that she did, it was just gone. I no longer had this pain in my heart. And I'll also have to say that every other program that I've done, whenever I did deep work, the repercussions were a week in bed, as my unconscious mind just said, no, shut down. And I would spend a week in bed. With Manna, I never got sick. No matter how the work we did, we did 2-hour sessions sometimes where we just kept on, okay, bring up this emotion. Is it still there? Yes. Okay, bring it up, bring it up until there's nothing. And I never got sick. I've not been sick in 3-4 months. So, no matter what, it's good.
Awesome. That's so good. Thank you. And that, like I said, that's going to be a massive, people who listen to this, it's going to be a massive impact. So tell me a little bit about now, what's life like now? So you've done the sessions with Manna, and I mean, Manna, was it 6 sessions that you did? Would it have been 6 sessions that you did with Manna? Was that right?
6 or 8 sessions, depending on, I mean, I'm now continuing to work with her because we're doing strategy now, because especially with, I think, she works differently with people. Obviously, everyone has different needs, but for me, she completely changed my life, in essence, that I was doing all these things, and now she's teaching me almost like how to be more strategic, because
Mm,
I let go of a whole life of being.
mm.
I had a complete identity shift, right? And now you can't just do an identity shift with somebody and then leave them. You can't do that. That's what a lot of people do. They'll take you through a healing process and then you're done. And then you're bound to repeat the old patterns again. You're bound to just, so she is now working with me to be very intentional. And,
Mm.
through her programs that people might know, she's got intentional living, daily exercises, a lot of support in her work, setting intentions and all this kind of stuff. Now being supported to build a new foundation in my new identity, basically.
Yeah, fantastic. And
Yeah.
just so what's life like now after you've sort of done the main sort of shift? How's it changed for you?
Do you know, it's incredible in essence that I don't get triggered anymore. I don't have triggers. I think that's one of the biggest things for me is, so because my trauma was a financial PTSD, I could not talk about money. I could not work with money. I could not look at my money. I could not manage my money. Money was triggering for me. Going to the grocery store and having to pay at the end was a trigger. I would like get heart palpitations 10 minutes before we finished the shop. Doing the shop, I would be like, I literally have PTSD while doing grocery shopping. Now imagine this is a weekly event. I can now go to the shop. I can shop freely. I don't feel anxious. I have no anxiety, by the way. I had years of anxiety. I have no more anxiety about anything. I don't lie awake at night anymore worrying about stuff. I am budgeting. I've got budgets going on everywhere. Where before that would just like I couldn't do it. I was afraid to do it. I was afraid to look at my money. I was afraid to talk about money. I actually rejected large financial investments. And as I was doing the work with Manna, I was realizing, oh my God, I have money here and I have money here. And so my consciousness around things started to shift. So now I'm, I feel like I'm a grown woman for the first time in my life. I feel like I can actually, I'm not a 5-year-old trapped in a woman's body anymore. I actually feel like I have the confidence of a grown woman. I'm also very strategic. I'm not just grabbing at any opportunity. I am building things step by step. It's changed my relationships with my kids and at home. Drama was a big thing for me. I used to create a lot of drama in my home. It was a part of the way I played out life. I don't do that anymore. So there was been so many changes, like and identity wise as well. I mean, I've gone to parties and people said, you're completely different. Like, what happened? Like, and people are asking me, like, who is this woman that you like? We wish we could meet her, right? Because they've seen such a shift in me, the calmness, the serenity. A friend of mine who I've known for 10 years said to me the other day, one of the things she was always telling me is, you're frantic, stop being so frantic, calm down, like, Tia, your speaking is so frantic. She spoke to me the other day and she's like, am I speaking to the right person? Like, is this really you? Because there was no franticness in my, nothing. I was just recalling, having a conversation. And she was like, it's amazing to speak to you when you're so calm, so clear, so much clarity, and there's no panic. Because that was my life. My life was one big panic, right? And so, so that's really been a great shift for me. It's been really, really good.
Fantastic. I loved hearing that. So thank you for sharing that. And I guess my last question is there anything you'd like to say to Manna?
Oh gosh, there's so much I can say to Manna. I'm eternally grateful. I really am. I think there's once in a lifetime that you meet somebody. She's so honest and open and direct. But she's she's so kind, you know, and I, when I say to people like, listen, Manna is so amazing, but she's gonna call you out, and people are like, oh, is she gonna be a tough? I'm like, no, she is just, you know, really, really amazing, and I'm so thankful. And I just want to say to Manna, you know, I'm really grateful and thankful. She's really changed my life. I didn't think there was this kind of peace that existed within, right? I've tried so many things and I didn't know it was possible. And I'm just really, really grateful. I'm grateful that she's doing the work, that she shows up, that she is so committed to what she's doing. You know, and she, yeah, there aren't many people like her, right? There's people that will work with you and then they'll leave you. And with Manna, you know you're in safe hands, and you know that she's not going to drop you halfway through. I recommended one of my friends to Manna, and she was like, oh, I just hope. And I was like, listen, this woman has integrity, right? She has integrity of the highest regard. And I wouldn't recommend her to my friends and family if I didn't trust her and if I didn't believe, and I know her integrity, right? Because she has integrity. If she says she's going to do it and do it in 6 or 8 weeks, that's when she does it. So yes, all I want to say to Manna is that I am so grateful. Like, my life is looking completely different, and it's been amazing. So very grateful and thankful.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, and your journey will also, you know, help other people reach out to us and to Manna to get that help also. So thank you so much for being so open.
You're welcome anytime. You know, I think I because I'm always in my head and kind of strategic, I'm always thinking, like, how do we get this woman's work to more people? How do we do it, right?
Well,
More
you're doing it right now. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and I'm sure your journey with Manna will continue to great things.
Absolutely. Thank you.